Successful People Think by John C. Maxwell. And in today's review, we're going to be examining chapter 4 of this book, which is titled Employ Realistic Thinking. We have to be realistic if we want to be successful. The first responsibility of a leader is to define reality. Now, what is reality? Reality is the difference between what you wish for and what is. That is reality. We can wish for different things. We can hope for something. We can have faith that something is going to happen. But what eventually happens is the reality. Anyone who knows, anyone who has been to school knows that there is a difference between what you learn in school and what the real world of work presents, right? There is a huge gap. That is the same thing when it comes to reality. You want something, you desire something, but what exactly is obtainable? So if you want to be successful, you have to be realistic. Realistic thinkers are successful thinkers. Some people live their lives just on faith or hope alone. It is good to have faith. It is good to be hopeful. It is good to be optimistic. But then, if you are not a realistic thinker, you are going to dismiss facts. You are going to dismiss planning and so many other things that can bring you to your goal. Right. So do not dismiss facts, do not commonize issues or plans and all of those things. Why you should recognize the importance of realistic thinking. Why? Number one, realistic thinking minimizes downside risk. Actions always have consequences. So realistic thinking helps you to determine what those consequences could be so that you can plan ahead to mitigate against them. If you plan for the worst case scenario, you can minimize downside risks. You will not be disappointed or surprised every time. Realistic thinking also gives you a target and a game plan. You know what you're working towards, and then you start to plan towards it. So many business people are not realistic thinkers. They are very positive, they are very optimistic, they have faith, they are hopeful, which is very good. But then, even if you have all of that, still do not dismiss the place of planning, of having a target, right? A game plan. What if things do not go according to plan? What if life happens? What if sales do not come? What are you going to do? Realistic thinking leads to excellence in leadership and management because it just helps you to have a target and a game plan to hit it. Then realistic thinking is a catalyst for change. If you are being realistic, then you can hope for success, but then you also know that you have to be flexible enough. Bad. You have to be flexible enough, right? If you want a change, right? If you want a change, because faith without works is dead. There are so many people who just want to live by faith alone, but you also need to add work to your faith if you want to be successful or if you want to see any tangible results. There are so many people who are sick. They don't want to take medication. They rely on faith alone. But they have forgotten that it is even God that gives doctors the wisdom to come up with medication that can help them. Right. So you cannot dismiss works, even though you are using faith or you are being optimistic or you are being hopeful. There is nothing like staring reality in the face to make a person recognize the need for change. Change alone doesn't bring growth. But you cannot have growth without change. You have to be willing to change and to grow at the same time. Realistic thinking provides security. When you have a backup plan, a game plan, a concrete plan, it gives you some kind of confidence or security. You feel secure that, okay, if my plan does not go well, this is an alternative. It doesn't mean that you're a pessimist. It just shows that you are planning for any disappointment. You are making plans for any shocker or surprises. Because as a leader, if you're always disappointed, you're always getting shocked, then it means that you're not a good leader. You are not planning for contingencies, right? Realistic thinking gives you credibility. Still talking about a leader, it helps those who are following you to know that, okay, you know what you're doing. They are not just following you blindly. So you ask some vital questions. Is this possible? Does this dream include everyone or just a few? Have I identified and articulated the areas that will make this dream difficult to achieve? You just look ahead, you take a peep into the picture, and you look at different scenarios, and you find ways to mitigate them. Number 6, realistic thinking provides the foundation to build on. If you have a plan, if you are realistic, you know what can happen. Then it gives you a concrete plan to build on. You cannot build a house in mid-air. You need a foundation. So whatever you're doing, maybe you're in marriage, in business, in your relationship, whatever, you need to be realistic. You need to have something to fall back on. For example, you want to get married, and then you're not planning about, maybe as a man, you're not planning about you're going to feed your wife. What you're going to fall back on after the wedding, the ceremony, or when you start having children, what are they going to eat? Do you have a job? You know, how do you send them to school? And all of that. Realistic thinking is a friend to those in trouble. Yes, if you are realistic, you will not always be in trouble. That is the truth. You will not always find yourself in trouble. Realistic thinking gives you something concrete to fall back on during times of trouble, which can be very reassuring. Is the audio bad? Okay, thank you. Right, so realistic thinking helps to pave the way for bringing any dream into fruition. Maybe it was a network. Thank you for that. How to recognize the importance of realistic thinking. Develop an appreciation for the truth. This is very, very important. A lot of people hate the truth. They cannot embrace the truth. They can't even tolerate it. The truth is like medicine, undiluted. It is bitter. But if you embrace it, if you admit it, it will do you a lot of good. It will bring healing to you. It will bring clarity to you. It will bring you direction. It will bring you back to your senses. So don't run away from the truth. Embrace it. Don't shy away from the truth. Don't dismiss the truth. That is reality. You know that something is going to happen, but you're trying to dodge it. You're trying to shy away from it. And when it eventually happens, it is very, very devastating because you have not embraced it. Right? Our society finds truth too strong to admit, but you have to face the truth. You have to be comfortable in admitting the truth. Somebody is telling you what will work or what may not work. You're trying to dismiss it. You are running away from it, but it will eventually happen. You really cannot shy away from the truth. The truth is the truth. It is bitter, but there's nothing you can do about it. And it is for your own good. If you embrace it, it will do you good. Then you have to do your homework. The process of realistic thinking begins with you doing your homework. You must first of all find the facts. What are the things that can happen? Right. When you approach a problem, strip yourself of preconceived notions, opinions, and prejudice. Face it, pieces it. Okay, remove any belief that you already have before now. Face the facts. Then think through the pros and cons. What are the advantages or disadvantages? What are the things that can likely happen? How am I going to overcome them? How am I going to deal with them? It will help you to dig into the facts, examine an issue from so many angles, and really count the cost of a possible course of action. Then picture the worst case scenario. I know some of us may not like to hear this. It doesn't mean you're a pessimist. It doesn't mean that you are hoping for the worst situation. It just helps you to plan. Okay, what if this thing does not go well? You want to go into business, and we know that you're going into it by faith. I am also a person of faith, right? But we cannot ignore the place of planning. We cannot ignore the facts. Like they would always advise, if you want to go into business, make sure you have up to like 6 months salary to pay your staff members or those that will be working with you or for you. In case sales do not come in, remember, you're just trying to build this business. People may not know you immediately. You may not gain visibility immediately. So how are you going to pay your staff? How are you going to cope with your running expenses and all of those things? So the essence of realistic thinking is discovering and picturing and examining worst case scenarios. Ask yourself questions like, what if sales fall short of projection? What if revenue hits rock bottom, as in rock bottom? What if we don't win the account? What if we don't get the contract? What if our customers don't like our products at first? What are we going to do? What if nobody shows up? You're planning an event. What if nobody shows up? All of this will help you to prepare your mind. You will not be shocked. You will not faint when some things happen, because you have prepared your mind that, okay, even though I want it to go this way, if it goes this way, I'll still stand strong. You know, you have built that toughness. That is what this helps you to do. Do you get it? The point is that you need to think about worst case possibilities. Whether you're running a business, leading a department, pastoring a church, coaching a team, or planning your personal finances. It's not as if you are negative. You are being positive. In fact, planning for or thinking about worst case scenarios is a way of being positive. Yes, there are some people that have no shock absorber, but they keep taking risks. They don't plan. They just want to faith everything. And when it happens, they are so devastated. They run into depression. Some of them eventually commit suicide because they did not see the other side of the situation. They did not envisage it. Right. So you have to think about it. We are human beings. We want things to go well, but some things are just beyond our control in life. Like we read in one of the previous books that we reviewed. What do you do when your plan does not go according to plan? What are you going to do? Right. All right. You also have to align your thinking with your resources. What do you have at hand? Even though God can multiply it, can bless it, things can happen. But at least plan with what you have at hand. Plan with your resources so that you can fill any gap that may arise. Right. The case of, if you remember the 9/11 attack that happened on the 11th of September 2001 in America, the very, very devastating terrorist attack that happened, 9/11. That showed the world that anything can happen. We have to be realistic. We have to plan. We must not let our guard down. Right. So the effect of this was that during the Super Bowl that happened in New Orleans on the 3rd of February 2002 that the author attended, because of what happened the year before in 2001. Now, at that Super Bowl, there was heavy security. People were scrutinized. There were high fences. There were restrictions to movement. There were barricades. There were several military personnel that worked with local law enforcement agents. Security was of the highest caliber. Secret Service brought in hundreds of agents. They secured the area. The area was declared a no-fly zone just because they wanted to plan. They were trying to be realistic. They did not let their guards down. So in whatever you're doing as well, just plan ahead. Look at things from different angle. Right. Everybody was searched. Everybody, to make sure that even if any terrorists wanted to attack the place, they were not going to succeed. And even if it happened that they succeeded, it's not because there was lack of preparation. It was just because, well, it was due to circumstances beyond people's control. Right. So that is a scenario for us to take a look at. Be realistic. You can faith things, you can be hopeful, you can be optimistic, all well and good, fantastic. But what happens if your plan does not go according to plan? Avoid disappointments, mitigate, risks and all of that. Be realistic. That'll be all for today's review. Don't forget to like this video, share your comment with me, and please subscribe to this channel in case you're yet to subscribe. I remain Olaide Agbaje, also known as First Lady. And on this channel, I inspire you to live intentionally. I'll come your way again on Monday, by God's grace, as we review chapter 5 of How Successful People Think. Chapter 5 is titled, Utilize Strategic Thinking. Thank you so much. I'll see you on Monday, by God's grace. Until then, be intentional. Have a great weekend. Bye.